prior to that, I worked outside of Douglasville, so that I couldn't very well come. But yeah, I've done a lot of things in the club, and I enjoy it very much. And like John says, we got our hands in a little bit of everything that goes on.
I know, and it's exciting to go at Christmas time whenever I can to help the students shop.
Oh yeah, a lot
It's
of
so
people
much
here
fun.
come to the Christmas event.
Yes, ma'am.
Appreciate that.
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Joseph?
My name is Joseph Moensi. I've been a member since almost 15 years now.
Wow.
And we just had our triathlon on Sunday.
Oh,
So we
good.
had about 125 triathletes who came in.
Yes, sir.
Again, what we're going to use you guys for next year to come in and help us.
Yes,
Thank you
sir.
very much.
We'll do the best we can.
Thank you.
All right, let's give them a hand, please, and then we'll come around and take a picture.
Just nice and close right there. That'd be perfect. Yeah. Excellent. I'm going to take a few. All right. Big smiles. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to switch. Hang on. Just a moment. There we go. All right. Big smiles there. 1, 2, and 3. Perfect.
Good. How are you? Oh, hey, she's working hard already. She's working hard.
Well, that was exciting. It's really great to have someone committed in the community for such a long time. Thank you again. You're welcome. I would like to welcome you to the City of Douglasville City Council regular meeting. This is a voting meeting where action will be taken, official action will be taken on the items that were discussed last Thursday at the legislative work session. If the business you're here for is not listed as an agenda item, there will be ample time under the agenda item comments from citizens and delegates section for you to discuss your business. Just a few protocol issues I'll go over, and then we can jump right into the meeting. I ask that you would please keep your comments and presentations on a professional level dealing with the facts that are important for this governing body to make our decisions. We will not accept comments that are considered by the chair to be of a personal attack on any individual or group of individuals. Only one person speaking at a time. Please do not applaud or react to speakers or speak to the audience when you come to the podium. We ask that you would speak directly to us. We'll remind you that we're only required to accept public comments on zoning matters. And if you have an electronic device, so please, we ask that you would put those in silent mode or turn those off until after the meeting so they will not be disruptive. Agenda items will be handled as the following. The committee chairperson will read the agenda item, and then that person representing that agenda item or applicant will make his or her presentation. Myself and council members might ask additional questions if we need to, based on new information that you're bringing that was not covered last Thursday at the council meeting. There is a 20-minute limit for those in favor of an item and 20 minutes for those in opposition, and each person has 5 minutes. Before you come to speak, there is a speaker card that you need to fill out. It's on the desk outside. We ask that you would fill that out. It has you put your name and your address on that card for information purposes, and hand that card to our Assistant City Clerk, Ms. Candace Jackson, and she will put it in the record. Each person has one opportunity to speak. This is not a question and answer format or debate. We're just here to hear the information, deliberate, and make a decision. If you have printed material, please give that to Ms. Candace, and she will make copies and hand them out to myself and council members. Those are all of the rules for tonight, and we will get into the meeting. You can follow us either on the screen, or if you want a paper copy, there are paper copies outside on the desk. So now we'll move on to the minutes, and I'll open the floor for a motion to approve the minutes of the May 12, 2022 legislative work session, minutes of May 16, 2022 regular meeting, and the minutes of May 19, 2022 budget workshop and executive session. I open the floor for a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
So moved.
Thank you so much, Councilman Adams. I have a motion to approve. Is there a second? Second. Thank you so much, Councilman Watts. It's been properly moved in second to approve the minutes as presented. Do we see any corrections or any concerns as it relates to the minutes? I don't see any. All those in favor of approving the minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Do you have, Ms. Candace? I know we have some technology.
Yes, ma'am, if you could check Councilwoman Miller as well. Looks like she's offline, but I did get her vote.
Okay, so you got her hand vote or her voice vote? Okay. Thank you so much. Now we'll move on to the next. It's been properly moved in second, and all those in favor approve, so it's unanimously that the minutes are approved. So we'll move on to the item number 6, the consent agenda. I open the floor for a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Make that motion. So moved.
Thank you so much, Councilman Adams. We have a motion to approve the consent agenda. Is there a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Councilman Watts. It's been properly moved in second to approve the consent agenda as presented. Do we see any corrections or concerns from council as relates to the consent agenda? I don't see any. All those in favor of approving the consent agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The consent agenda is approved unanimously. And we'll move on to item number 7, Economic Development Committee. I'll ask the Vice Chair, Councilmember Nicole Miller, to take that committee, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have no business this evening in economic development.
Thank you so much, Councilmember Miller. We'll move on to Finance, and that's chaired by Councilmember Mark Adams.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have
You're
two
welcome.
items tonight under finance.
Yes, sir.
Authorize the mayor to sign and accept the letter of intent from NGI Acquisitions LLC, the Novar Group, regarding the prospective mixed-use development adjacent to the prospective Town Green project. Ms. Hampton?
Yes, sir. This notice of intent allows us to enter into negotiations with the Navarre Group for the private development at the Town Green based on the terms that we've discussed in executive session.
Thank you, ma'am. I know that everyone was not here on Thursday night, so I'll open the floor if there are any questions or comments of council or Madam Mayor, anyone that might have had a question. I know that Councilwoman Verdanley was not here. Ms. Stanley, do you have any questions about it? Was there any other comment or question that anyone had? I know that
Excited?
we covered it very well, I know that, and staff has done a great job in bringing this to us. So if there are no other, I will make a motion that we approve item 22-189.
Thank you
Looking
so
forward
much.
to it.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a motion to approve 22-189. Is there a second, please?
Second.
Thank you so much, Councilmember Miller. It's been properly moved in second by Councilmember Adams, the chair, and second by Councilmember Nicole. This is in their ward to approve item 22-189. Do we have any additional comments or questions as it relates to this item? I don't see any. All those in favor of approving, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. 22-189 is unanimously approved.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
You're welcome.
Item B, adopt a resolution to amend the City of Douglasville citywide travel policy. Ms. Hampton and Ms. Mann are going to handle that for us.
Yes, sir. Unless you would like for Ms. Mann to go over all of the points, we've done that before in your budget workshop. We went over those points at your legislative meeting on Thursday. Just keep in mind when you do adopt this travel policy, if you are to approve that, it would tie directly to all individuals' travel and training that travel on behalf of the City of Douglasville for business. So it would reference the compensation ordinance that we are looking to amend over the next 3 weeks, as your legal counsel advised that you would have to do those 3 advertisings. But this would apply to both elected officials and employees. If there are any points about what's in the travel policy, myself or Alicia would be happy to address those.
But just a point of clarity, this does not address the issue as far as the compensation ordinance at this time, because our council had told us we need to bring that forward and discuss that and have public hearings or advertisements concerning that, correct?
Advertise it for 3 weeks immediately prior to its
Okay.
Correct. And yes, sir. And this is really just a procedure as what you all would do when you travel. And as Mr. Dotson mentioned, just keep in mind anything that you would approve as far as changes and your compensation ordinance would not take effect until 2024.
Okay. Questions, comments? Any questions for Ms. Mann?
Just clarification, this is not an increase in anything, it's just clarifying, defining.
Correct. This is our policy that we will follow when we're processing travel on behalf of anybody that's traveling on behalf of the city.
Okay. Ms. Mann, it looks as though you're going to get an easy meeting tonight. If there are no other questions or comments, then I'll make a motion that we approve item 22-194.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. We have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you so much, Councilmember Miller. It's been properly moved in second to approve item 22-194 with additional comments that we have from the city manager and our city attorney. Do we have any additional comments or questions from council members? Thank you, Mr. Dawson. I don't see any. All those in favor of approving this item, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. 22-194 is unanimously approved.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. That's all that we have tonight under finance.
Thank you so much, Councilmember Adams. We'll move on then to the next committee, which is Housing and Community Affairs Committee, and that is chaired by Councilmember Dr. LaShawn Verdanley.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have no business tonight under Housing and Community Affairs.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
I would ask that you would please take Legislative and Intergovernmental Committee as well, as you're the vice chair.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have no business under Legislative and Intergovernmental Committee tonight.
Thank you.
You're
Thank you so
welcome.
much. Yes, ma'am. Personnel and Organization Committee, chaired by Councilmember Chris Watts.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have no business tonight in Personnel and Organization.
Thank you, sir. Planning and Development Committee, chaired by Councilmember Mark Adams.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have two items. Item A, consider request for approval of a development plan for 9415 Highway 5 convenience store on 1.34 acres at 9415 Highway 5, land lot 160, District 2, Section 5, Parcel 2. Plans dated April 21st, 2022. Application by Rochelle Robinson Constructions, LLC. Mr. Thompson, you brought this to us on Thursday night, and we just need to see if there are other questions or comments. Do you have any other information for us?
No, sir, not
Okay.
at this time.
I do remember that you did state that everything did look to be in order as far as it being planned according to our requirements. Anyone have any questions or comments for Mr. Thompson? This would be somewhat of a redevelopment there on Highway 5 and I-20, using part of the existing property and developing. And I think you said, Mr. Thompson, actually the gas island would be in the rear of the property, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. All right, if there are no other questions or comments, I make a motion that we approve item 22-186.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. I have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you so much, Councilman Watts. It's been properly moved in second, moved by the chair, Councilmember Adams, and second by Councilmember Watts to approve item 22-186. Do we have any additional comments or questions from council members? I don't see any. All those in favor of approving this item, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. 22-186 unanimously approved.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We'll go to item B, consider a request for approval of a development plan for 1280 Thornton Road Convenience Center on 1.41 acres at 1280 Thornton Road, land lot 679, District 18, Section 2, Parcel 7. Plans dated April 25th, 2022. Application by Omkara 14 LLC. Mr. Thompson, same deal?
Yes, sir.
Same question. Everything is in order as far as your department is concerned as to the development plan and it being in agreement with our requirements?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Questions, comments?
Not at this time.
Pardon?
Not at this time.
Okay. Seeing none, then I'll make a motion that we approve item 22-187.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. I have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you so much, Councilmember Miller. It's been properly moved in second by Councilmember Chair, Councilman Adams, and second by Councilmember Miller to approve 22-187. Do we have any additional comments or questions from council members? Heads are shaking no. Okay, all those in favor of approving this item, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. 22-187 is unanimously approved.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. That's all that we have tonight under planning and development.
Thank you so much, Councilman Adams. Thank you, Mr. Thompson. We appreciate you. That's all you have in planning and development?
Yes, ma'am, that's all we have.
Yes, sir. We'll move on then to Public Improvement and Beautification Committee, and that's chaired by Councilmember Nicole Miller.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have no business this evening for Public Improvement and Beautification.
Thank you so much. We'll move on then to Public Relations Committee, and I'll ask the committee chairperson, Councilmember Adams, to take that committee, please.
No business tonight under Public Relations, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, sir. Public Safety Committee, the vice chair is Councilmember Watts.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have no business tonight under public safety.
Thank you so much, Coach. If you don't mind taking the next committee, which is yours, Recreation, Culture, and Tourism Committee.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have no business under Recreation, Culture, and Tourism either.
Thank you, sir. Technology Committee, I'll ask the Councilmember Dr. Bird Danley take that committee, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have no business under technology tonight.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
And Transportation, which is your committee, I'll ask Councilmember Dr. LaShawn Bird Danley.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have no business under Transportation Committee tonight.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Do we have any other business to come before council tonight from the elected body? I don't see any, so we'll move on then to updates from city staff. Our city attorney, Mr. Joel Dodson.
No business, Madam.
Thank you, sir. Our police department, Major J.R. Davison.
No business, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, sir. City manager, Ms. Marcia Hampton.
Yes, ma'am. I need to make an announcement to you all regarding some work at City Hall. Myself and Greg talked this morning, and we thought that we would be able to shift folks around in City Hall while we do the roof repair, but the damage is far more extensive than we realize. So we're going to have to close City Hall temporarily for a period of at least 10 days. So we're going to shift as many individuals around as we can to either the conference center, community development where we have room, or courthouse square where Greg has room. We're going to keep the key functions, i.e. Business license, those types of individuals that need to have face-to-face services with the public available here on site, but we probably will have to do some rotating with individuals working from home, i.e. the clerk's office would just work from home through those 10 days, so we're not taking up vital space that we would need for individuals who have to service the public one-on-one. So we'll keep you posted, but we will start that work June 13th, so that's Monday. Part of the reason we want to start as quick as possible is because we're trying to beat the rain. Also, we know that a lot of you all will be out for the annual convention in Savannah, and we do have a Monday holiday for Juneteenth on the 20th. So taking advantage of City Hall being closed, trying to get this work done before July 4th, and so that the rain doesn't cause any further damage than what's already been caused. But we will keep you posted. We'll have notices on City Hall, on Facebook, on our website. One other major thing, particularly with finance, we're probably going to be asking the public that we not accept cash during that time, because we won't have a secure place to hold cash. So we will be asking for payments to either be via check, online payment via credit card, but we will restrict the holding of cash because we won't have a place to secure that money. If you all have any questions, I'll be happy to respond.
I'll open the floor for any questions from council members. Thank you, City Manager. I did have a question, and this is unrelated. Oh, Councilmember Bird Danley, did you have a question?
Question for, you said for 2 weeks?
Yes, ma'am.
So for individuals that may have a business that cannot, I mean, most of them probably could pay, there will not be a penalty?
No, we wouldn't do that if you just don't have if your only method is cash. We will be able to work something out where you can pay at a later time. We won't penalize anybody, no ma'am.
Thank you. That was a great question. Well, City Manager, this is unrelated, but have we heard anything from the county as far as our SDS and loss negotiations? I did speak with Madam Chair, and I know the lead is former council member, Commissioner Henry Mitchell. And I did let them know that we had annual conference coming up. Is our date July 1st or August 1st? When do we have to have that?
It's 60 days from the date of the meeting that was held, so it'll just be prior to the end of July. I don't have the exact date, but I can count and get that for you. But I have not received anything as related to a schedule. The other thing, I do have a meeting scheduled with the county administrator on Wednesday. I'm hopeful I can get further detail at that time, because the other that we would be looking for, which is not necessarily as pressing as loss, but we do need to get nail down our timeline on SPLOS because we have to have that information over to the election superintendent to be able to put that on the ballot, and there are a series of intergovernmental agreements as well as public hearings that we have to have during that process. And if you all, those who are with us in 2016, remember we had a series of public meetings that were held prior to us getting the information to be placed on the ballot. So there's still a lot of work to be done, but I have not heard from anyone with any definite answers regarding a schedule, timeline, or any further information since we left the meeting a few weeks ago.
I guess legal, would it be prudent for us to maybe wait another week or so and send over our recommendations, or what should we do?
We can certainly propose some suggested dates if you wish.
Okay. All right.
I will do that.
Mr.
Yes, ma'am.
Dotson.
I can communicate to Frederick Perry on Wednesday when I have my meeting with him.
So we shouldn't send over, we'll do more of the percentages that you propose for, that was in the meeting, for fire and EMS and animal control.
I would say not. I mean, the
Okay.
ball's in their court at this point. So I know that they not only have to meet with us, but the other cities as well. So we're really, to some degree,
Just
at their mercy. Yes,
At their
ma'am.
mercy. Okay. Thank you so much, City Manager. Do you have anything else? Okay. Well, I know we do have a staff report, our presentation of Parks and Recreation's quarterly report with our Director of Parks and Recs, Mr. Chris Bass. It's good to see you.
Good evening, Madam Mayor.
Good evening.
Members of council. Chris Bass, 8830 Gurley Road.
Mm-hmm.
This is our quarterly report for the Parks and Recreation Department. Make sure my clicker is on. Okay, great. All right, so we've had a very busy but productive year so far. So just want to highlight a few of the things that we've been able to accomplish over this previous year and briefly talk about our goals for the upcoming year. Picking back up where we left at the budget retreat, giving some information there. But first, just for the edification of the public, understanding our operations in Parks and Recreation, we are broken up into 4 divisions, one being West Pines Golf Club, our Park Maintenance Division, Recreation Program Division, and our Park Maintenance Division. So a lot of the things that I'll speak to will highlight those 4 specific divisions. Because of the time change with our budget retreat, we were not able to go over personnel during that time, but I do just want to briefly highlight our personnel in this presentation. We have not had many changes in terms of personnel except for one. We have not filled the assistant director role yet, my previous role. At this time, we have focused our attention on our maintenance division and our program division, as those were our priorities. So that position has not been filled yet, but that is the only change from organizational or personnel in terms of our department. All right, so on the next slide, you'll see our current goals for this, the current fiscal year. One being implement new and innovative athletic recreational opportunities based on the needs of our citizens. That's something that we've been speaking heavy about with developing of our social equity plan, just focusing on the needs of all of our citizens. Continue the implementation of our master plan that was developed in 2018 and approved by this body. And then maintain and increase membership levels for from the previous fiscal year to the current date, and develop an improved formalized process for citizen and customer feedback. So first, getting into the next slide with our West Pines division. We've had a record-breaking year. West Pines is continuing to do well in terms of revenue, in terms of how many citizens we're serving, and in terms of program operations. Mr. Cartwright has started offering non-traditional programs at our golf course. We've partnered with our State Golf Association to provide some programs for individuals with special needs and disabilities at our golf club. We'll be hosting a women's qualifier PGA tournament in July. So he's been doing great addressing all of our capital needs at the golf course. We have some things coming up, but specifically honing in on the number of rounds played and just increasing visibility is something that we've done a great job at this year. Here you have some numbers just to kind of put that in perspective in terms of the revenues from versus previous year, FY21 to current date. So right now, where we're looking at, we'll top out at about 1.3, close to $1.3 million in revenue at the golf course, which is, like I say before, a record-breaking year for us. That has not been done. So that's because the increased number of rounds that are being played at the golf course now. We did have a slight increase in terms of, or actually not slight increase, about 50% increase in terms of food and beverage, and about a 72% increase with our merchandise. So we're just doing great, and Mr. Cartwright has really knocked it out the park in terms of bringing that team together and servicing the citizens at West Pines. So. Moving on to the next slide, our park maintenance division. This is our division that oversees all the maintenance at our parks. Earlier last year, we opened Mill Village Park, and then just recently, we've had our ribbon cutting for Willing Workers Park. So this division is responsible for making sure the maintenance for those facilities are up to par. So one of the things I wanted to highlight first is that we've been able to develop a maintenance and operations management standard manual for all of our maintenance divisions employees to use in terms of that service level, making sure that we're providing top quality service at all of our parks, regardless of where it is within our community, again, aligning with that social equity plan we developed. Also, we implemented a preventive maintenance plan. This was developed in conjunction with our accreditation, and now we're in the implementation phase to kind of help us in terms of saving money and just being able to keep things safe, keep our employees safe, and keep up with the longevity of our maintenance equipment. And we have successfully transitioned our maintenance operations to Club Drive, which was formerly the home for our public services department. In terms of recreation programming division, we've had a great year with programs. We've tripled the number of programs that we offered in the past, even through, as we're on the end of this, coming out of this pandemic, we've been able to add new camps to our program inventory. So we have our different school break camps, which is so important when children are out of school, they need somewhere to go. So we've added several camps for school breaks, therapeutic recreation camp, for individuals with special needs and disabilities, junior ranger camp. I know Coach Watts, I was talking about getting outside and being in tune with nature, so we have our junior rangers camp. But then, of course, still making sure that we are offering some type of technology camps, so STEAM camps and digital media camps. Our adult programs have picked up tremendously. We now offer, and these are just new programs in the current, that we've offered this past year. Pound Fitness, Sunflowers in Motions, which is a line dancing program, Zumba, and then the Pedal Pushers Bike program, which you've heard me talk about at Hunter Park. Then our youth programs that we've offered, STEAM again, and then our new after-school program, our Spark after-school program that was developed in partnership with the Georgia Recreation and Parks Association to help with the learning loss, fill those gaps that was caused by COVID-19. So, and then in terms of special events, we've really tried to do a great job at tapping into some of our other park locations that we have not historically had events at. So one being our Bark in the Park that we held at Worthing Park last month. Parents' Night Out, which was held during Christmas, where parents have the opportunity to go and do that last-minute Christmas shopping. We'll keep the kids for you. Our Valentine's Dance for our therapeutic recreation section. Kids to Park Day, which is an annual event that we have. We're actually moving it from Hunter Park to Willing Workers Park, which adding more events going on in that location. Our Teen Summit, which teens were an area that we identified in that social equity plan as underserved population. So doing more for teens with that Teen Summit. And then our Screen on the Green, which we had a really great, successful event this past Friday at Fowler Field. So adding more events there. One other component that we've added with the recreation program division is our senior programs. So seniors was the main area in our social equity plan that we saw that we were not offering enough programs for. So now we have additional programs taking place at Jessie Davis and some of our local parks in order to prepare for the new senior center that will come with the construction at Jessie Davis Park. So we now offer line dancing, bingo, card games, chair aerobics, and a walking club at Jessie Davis Park, along with several other senior events, like our senior wellness walk that took place at Willing Workers Park. You'll see some of the pictures there. and just some networking opportunities and just social engagement opportunities for our seniors, like our Mother's Day hat and tea brunch, and then our senior trunk or treat, which, yes, there are seniors that enjoy a good trunk or treat, and our Easter celebration. Our athletics division was one that really had to make some changes in terms of addressing some of our needs. We found that we were not offering as many programs in-house as we could have. In the past, we've only offered youth baseball, and we dealt with a lot of associations. Well, we've now started offering more programs within our own operations, and basketball was one of them. So now we have our own in-house basketball league, similar to what we have at Hunter Park with baseball, that's operated at Jessie Davis Park. Again, getting ready for the renovations at Jessie Davis Park to be able to host leagues. We'll be able to host volleyball at this location, so we've started there. Our athletics division has worked hard with offering volleyballs, and you'll see in the pictures there I provided is you'll see that volleyball, and you'll see where we have all girls teams for basketball as well. So really helping add more to our programs inventory with girls sports. So we'll be looking to expand. And this is actually the first year that we actually were able to participate in Georgia Recreation and Parks programs throughout the state. That's something that we have not been able to do in the past, but now this positions us to not only continue our participation with Georgia Recreation and Parks Association, but it allows us to be able to host some of those tournaments that are provided through the state, which overall will help from economic impact and bring heads and beds to our community. And one of the major things that our athletics division completed this year was the adding on the student athlete, just promoting the educational component, getting kids to understand that it's one thing to be an athlete, but are you a student athlete? So highlighting that throughout our programs. We've talked before about there are some areas in our community where we don't have a park presence, so we're trying to really help with community engagement. So our team has started working with neighborhoods where we don't have a park presently. For example, Tributary, just this past weekend, we've had they opened a day for their swimming pool, so we had tables set up at both swimming pools and on the Tributary locations to just show them, hey, we're here. Anything you all need, we're here for assistance. So we've been working hand in hand with the Tributary and other communities where we don't have a park presence to continue to just show a footprint in those particular communities. So community engagement is something that we're really serious about, along with just getting customer feedback. Like I mentioned in that goal earlier, we want to be able to try to figure out some type of way to get that input back from our citizens. So now when you go into our facilities, you'll see a QR code on the wall where you can give us some feedback. Tell us what type of programs you like us to offer. Are there some things that aren't up to your standards in terms of our park? So this is just one method that we've developed to get community feedback, and we'll definitely be working a little bit harder to try to figure out ways to engage our community as well. So as I close, I just want to make note of our goals for the upcoming fiscal year. First, develop a equitable cost recovery plan that reflects the current market. We talked about it last week with the fireworks. Inflation is here, and we have to make sure that we are keeping up with that, because our fees are going up and things that we pay for. So we have to make sure that we're staying consistent with that, but also doing it from an equity lens, recognizing that there may be some hardships with some families. So making sure we do that equitably. We'll begin implementation of the Jessie Davis Park transition plan. Once that park is closed, there will only be access to the Hawthorne Center. So that means a lot of things will need to be shifted around. The basketball courts won't be accessible. The football field won't be accessible. So there's a plan that we've put together to help mitigate possible issues and make sure it's a smooth transition during this time frame of construction. Develop a program or operation plan for underutilized parks and play spaces. This is one that's really big for us because the master plan did identify the first three major parks, Mill Village, willing workers in Jessie Davis Park, and we've successfully have either renovated those or have solidified the funding source, as you know, with the bond referendum. But now it's time for us to focus on areas like Fowler Field. We want to focus on Worthing Park, and as was mentioned during the SPLOST presentation, try to tap into some areas where we could possibly do some land acquisitions. So we'll start the process and trying to see what that looks like for us, and utilizing those spaces that we do currently have. Again, this is a repeat goal of developing an improved formalized process for citizens and customer feedback, just because although we do have some measures in place, we want to continue to find ways to engage with the community. So that's going to be a goal that we're going to keep on there. And again, continuing the implementation of our master plan. Because this plan was developed with funding sources provided, we are ahead of schedule, which is great. So again, going back to that goal about tapping into some other areas in the community, we may be coming back saying we want to start looking at developing some concepts or going through some type of renovations at some of our existing parks outside of that are not recommended in the current master plan. So going with a hard update with that. You've heard me talk a lot about social equity, and that's something that we've undergone in starting 2018. We've addressed in our program operations with providing more programs for seniors, individuals with disabilities, and teens. We've addressed it from a service standard, making sure our parks are all on the same level of service with the upgrades to those parks. We've done it even within our own internal operations, making sure that we are making decisions equitably. But now it is time for us to transition. So we are moving our our focus area from social equity to health and wellness. Health and wellness is so important because we have to figure out ways to really tap into the needs of our citizens from a health standpoint. That's not to say that we won't continue to focus on social equity. We'll continue to make those decisions from an equity lens, but social equity will be our big focus. So you'll see us coming forward with a lot more programs for our senior citizens in terms of health and wellness programs and classes. You'll see us making decisions about what goes on in our parks from a health and wellness standpoint. What type of equipment are we putting in, exercise equipment, making sure that we're adding more trails within our parks and make sure their access is there. So health and wellness is our new focus as we transition to in the upcoming fiscal year and beyond. So, but that is all I have, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
All right, Mr. Bass, you did a phenomenal job. That's a lot of information. You were talking away. Very good, very good. I do have a few questions before I open it up to council. I'll start with the last thing that you talked about was social equity and then health and fitness or health and wellness. The pocket parks, I know you said something about land acquisition, and so if we could, I don't know if we have a status report on where we are. I know Councilmember Mayor Pro Tem has brought to our attention about the Arbor Station area not having any parks from the city there. So have we talked about pocket parks or any kind of land? Do we have any, have a status report on that?
Well, so not a report per se, but of course that's going to be contingent on where we are with the future SPLOST, because we'll need to be funding for that. So once we've been able to identify potential funding sources for parks, then we'll go into a possible land acquisition phase, of course, working with the city manager.
Okay. Jessie Davis Park, what's the time frame that it's going to take for the renovations?
So I wish Mr. Thompson was here. He probably would give us a better number. I'm going to say from last time I heard 18 to 24 months, but that could all change depending on construction. And
so our team that really uses the park is the Tiger Cubs. And so do we have, you said we do have a plan that we're working out, I guess, with the high schools or something where they can have opportunity to practice and to play?
Yes, ma'am. So we've worked with the Tiger Cubs in terms of helping them with practice space, and the high school is going to provide game space for them. So.
Okay, very good. Where's the other? Park maintenance. So you have a plan, you're working through park maintenance?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Then some of the programs, you mentioned that we had new programs, and I just was at the Sunflowers 5th anniversary on Saturday. They're line dancing. They were dancing away. So some of the programs I wanted to bring to your attention, and I think we talked about this before, pickleball, lacrosse, tennis, and bikes. Or we do have a bike program, though. Do we still have that where we borrow bikes and they can ride them? Okay.
So we still have the bike program, and we also have 6 new pickleball courts over at the old tennis courts at Hunter Park as well.
Okay. So do we do anything with tennis, or we just leave that up to the high school and Boys and Girls Club?
No, we actually started a tennis program, and I didn't mention that in here, but the Atlanta Tennis Social Club is a new association that we're working with.
Okay.
There should be information on our website in terms of when those hours are available for citizens to sign up, but that was a new partnership that we developed with our athletics division.
Okay, so I know Mayor Pro Tem plays tennis in that league. Is it for children? Do we have for children or just adults?
Yes, it's actually both.
Okay, great.
And I was actually just talking with someone from USTA last week in terms of doing an assessment. USTA provides a municipal tennis facility assessment that's different than the private tennis facilities, and they'll come in and give you recommendations. So that's something that we may possibly look at. I'm just getting information right now, but tennis is picking up. Our athletic staff just mentioned about something in terms of citizens asking for tennis lessons for more advanced players. This, the Atlanta Tennis Social Club, is more of an introductory type program, but we are looking at ways to be able to service all levels.
It does make a difference. I told you my son had tennis lessons when he was really small at the Boys and Girls Club, and he still just basic, lessons will help you for lifelong to keep those skills. Seniors, are we connecting with the county? I know they have a robust program for their seniors. And they have a new facility out at 166. Do we have programs together, or we have our own on the side, or what are we doing?
Yeah, so Dr. Gilchrist has been great through the transition of us developing senior programs. So she's the director for senior services with the county.
Sir.
And one of the things that we're doing is continuing our partnership. In the past, we've partnered with events like the senior picnic.
Yes.
They are still on some restrictions, so they have not completely transitioned back. And they actually have used some of our parks for some of their programming. So there's a continued partnership there that we'll definitely continue.
Their seniors can't go to the parks in the county?
No, the senior center, I think they're still on
the
some
senior
restrictions
citizen,
as far as like Woody Fight and some of the other senior centers.
Okay.
So we're working with
How are we doing in Mill Village about as far as attendance and people knowing that it's open?
Mill Village is going good. We'll probably be looking at adding some programs there for the community, some events rather, for the community, recognizing that there is no parking, so we definitely can't do anything major there, but just bringing more visibility to the park and connecting with that community as well.
And willing workers, how are we doing with attendance?
It's going great. I think it's, having those having those events there really help bring more visibility to that park. So with the wellness walk and Kids to Park Day, so it's great.
Okay,
and there's some pictures online, even a few in this presentation, where you'll see how many people are actually out in the park. So
good. Very good. Oh, good. Overcoming Church. Now, Bark in the Park, that's dogs?
Yes, ma'am. That's the
Do you have games for them or something?
Yes, ma'am. So we've had some games out for them on this particular event, and actually some dog vendors. This was done at Worthing again, going back to what I mentioned earlier about the underutilized parks. We didn't really have a lot going on at Worthing, so we identified that as a location. But what we're trying to do is figure out ways to find centralized areas for the dogs to make sure everyone is safe, because there are some that are not okay with the dogs being around, so we're trying to find ways to mitigate that. So this event was one to just connect with the dog family community to gauge that audience.
And the trains, they don't scare the dogs. Did it go well?
It did go well. Yes, ma'am.
Now you have something for cats. I gained a cat for the summer. My daughter brought Oreo home, a black and white little kitten.
No, we haven't started with cats yet.
And the last thing is the PGA. I think you think that's made a difference in the Georgia PGA coming to West Pines with us having more visibility and more play? It just this is phenomenal.
Definitely. And it's even helped, like I mentioned earlier, with economic impact. Bringing those golfers in, those professional golfers, and even with those in the area wanting to come out and view these qualifying tournaments. So it definitely has made an impact.
Very good. Okay, I will open the floor up for other council members to ask questions. My last thing is, I know you're focusing on other things, but I would like for you to look for an assistant parks director so you can get a rest, because you have a lot on your shoulders. You're doing a great job. We don't want you to burn out.
Yes, ma'am. I appreciate it. But we have a great senior leadership team. Two of them actually here, Ms. Thrasher and Mr. Penn, our division manager, and then Chuck Combs, and Mr. Cartwright could not be here as well. He's traveling today. So they are a great team, and we work well together. So they definitely help fill in any gaps that we've had.
Very good. The chair, you have anything?
I was just going to say, Madam Mayor, I was going to talk with Chris after the meeting about getting 20 or 30 cats, and we could have a cat herding class. And we
That
wanted to include-
Oreo's all over the house.
No,
And our
but-
city manager should know pretty well how to do that.
Yeah.
So she could be the one training.
But I did want to just tell Chris what a great job he's doing, he and his staff, the programs that they're offering, the increase in participation, just doing a great job. Keep it up, and your staff's doing a fantastic job also. Thank you, Chris.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you. Any other comments? Yes, sir, Councilman Adams.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
You're welcome.
Mr. Bass, I don't want to steal your thunder at all. I'm not trying to do that, but I'll play the part of our previous council member, Mr. Richard Siegel. At one time, you mentioned something about the golf course between FY '21 and '22 on the, and I'm assuming it was $50,000 in food and beverage in '21. And year-to-date, you have $100,000.
Yes, sir.
That's a 100% increase.
Right, correct, 100%.
That's a 100% increase,
Right.
not 50.
Right.
I'm just elated at the way that things are going at the course, because we have, for many years, it's been somewhat of an albatross, or at least in some people's minds, of what we were doing there. But I appreciate your leadership there in that regard, and in all of the improvements that have been done. I wasn't able to be at the Wheeling Workers Park ribbon cutting, but from the pictures that I see, I've got to make a trip over there and hang out for a little while, because
Beautiful.
that's impressive. And I appreciate all that you all have done, all of you. The staff's done a great job. Thank you for what you're doing. Just keep it up.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Adams. Any other comments from council members? Okay, thank you. We appreciate you, Mr. Bass.
Yes, ma'am, thank you.
You're welcome. So now we'll move on to comments from citizens and delegates. If you all sustain the meeting and you'd like to bring any comments or questions or concerns and business as it relates to the city of Douglasville that's germane to Douglasville, please come forward, give us your name and address for the record, and you have 5 minutes to talk to us. No takers, as Councilman Davis can say. All right, well, we don't have any other business to come before council tonight. This meeting is adjourned.